The fall of American power. For nearly a century, the United States stood as the unquestioned titan of the modern world, a nation whose power stretched across oceans, currencies, and ideologies. But today, something is changing. The once undisputed empire of innovation, influence, and might is cracking, slowly, quietly, and perhaps irreversibly. The fall of American power isn't coming with explosions or invasions, but with something far more dangerous: complacency. And if you care about truth, about history, and about what's coming next, watch this story till the very end, because understanding this shift could change how you see the entire world and your place within it. If you've ever wondered why the world feels unstable, why your dollar buys less, why wars seem endless, and why America feels different than it once did, this video is for you. Stay until the end, because by the time we finish, you'll not only understand the how behind America's decline, you'll see what it means for every one of us who still believes in rebuilding strength, unity, and vision. This isn't just a story about America. It's a warning, and maybe a wake-up call. The age of unrivaled power. In 1945, the world knelt before American supremacy. The nation had just defeated fascism, dropped atomic fire upon Japan, and rebuilt Europe with its wealth. Factories roared, Hollywood conquered hearts, and the dollar became the lifeblood of global trade. America was more than a country. It was an idea: freedom, prosperity, and opportunity. These weren't just slogans. They were promises backed by aircraft carriers, satellites, and Silicon Valley dreams. By the late 20th century, the U.S. produced over 25% of the world's GDP. Its military spanned more than 750 bases across the planet. Its culture shaped what people watched, wore, and believed. From Wall Street to Washington, from Apple to NASA, America was the modern world. But hidden beneath the roaring engines of prosperity were the quiet, rusting bolts of decay. The rise of rivals' power invites imitation and resistance. As America dominated, others learned, adapted, and evolved. First came Japan, mastering efficiency, innovation, and industry. Then the European Union, uniting economies under one flag of commerce. And finally, China. In a single generation, China went from peasant fields to megacities glowing brighter than New York. Its GDP grew 14-fold. Its factories became the backbone of global supply. Every phone, every laptop, every solar panel, touched by Chinese hands. While America debated, China built. While America outsourced, China produced. And while Americans argued over politics, China quietly rewrote the script of power, using trade, technology, and time itself as weapons of dominance. In 2025, adjusted for purchasing power parity, China's economy has already surpassed that of the United States. Its grip on rare earth minerals, renewable energy, and electric manufacturing is near total. The world that once looked to America for leadership now looks east for opportunity. The tariff wars and the illusion of control. When America first realized its empire was slipping, it did what all empires do. It fought back. Trade wars, sanctions, tariffs. Words meant to sound strong, but often born of fear. In 2018, the U.S. began imposing tariffs on Chinese imports, hoping to protect domestic jobs and industry. At first, it looked like defiance, but in truth, it was desperation. Because while the U.S. was punishing imports, China was quietly buying influence in Africa, in Latin America, in Southeast Asia. It didn't need to invade countries. It simply invested in them. Ports, railways, power grids, all stamped with the Red Dragon's mark. By the time American leaders noticed, the game was already lost. A house divided, but not all of America's wounds come from abroad. Many were self-inflicted. The very system that built the richest nation on earth began to rot from within. Corporations chased profits over people. Politics became theater. Truth became optional. For decades, America's infrastructure crumbled while its billionaires built rockets to Mars. Education costs soared, wages stagnated, and the middle class, once the engine of American might, started disappearing. In 1965, a single income could raise a family, buy a home, and send kids to college. By 2025, even two full-time workers struggle to pay rent. The dream that once united generations became a debt trap wrapped in nostalgia. And while Americans fought each other over ideologies, the rest of the world quietly moved forward. The technological reversal. For decades, America was the temple of technology, from Silicon Valley to NASA, from Google to the moon. But today the balance is shifting. In AI research, China now publishes more papers and patents than the United States. In renewable energy, it leads the world in solar, wind, and battery production. In 5G and quantum computing, it's setting the pace, while America debates policy grids from the 1990s. The great irony: much of America's technology is built overseas. Every smartphone chip, every EV battery, every drone component, made, assembled, or refined in Asia. America invented the future and then outsourced it. The weakness within. But there's something even deeper, something that numbers and charts can't capture. The collapse of faith, faith in government, faith in justice, faith in the idea that tomorrow will be better than today. When a nation stops believing in itself, no army, no economy, no leader can save it. And right now, America's greatest enemy isn't China, Russia, or inflation. It's division. Social media has turned citizens into soldiers of ideology. Neighbors see enemies where they once saw friends. Truth is filtered through algorithms. And while the people fight among themselves, the empire quietly bleeds out. Rome didn't fall because its enemies were strong. It fell because its people forgot what it meant to be Roman, and America, too, risks forgetting what it means to be American. The economic burden. Let's talk numbers. The U.S. national debt has crossed $35 trillion. Every second, it grows by another $100,000. The interest alone could soon surpass military spending. The dollar's dominance, the cornerstone of American power, is under siege. Nations are now trading oil in yuan. BRICS countries are building their own global payment systems. Even longtime allies are questioning the need for the U.S. dollar. And for the first time in modern history, there's genuine talk about a post-American financial order. Once, when America sneezed, the world caught a cold. Now, when America coughs, the world shrugs. The culture of consumption empires rarely fall in a single moment. They decay slowly, one convenience at a time. America's addiction to consumption has become both its greatest strength and its fatal flaw. Fast food, fast fashion, fast money. Everything is instant, but nothing lasts. Meanwhile, the nations that once copied America's dream are now outworking it. Students in Shanghai study 12 hours a day. Engineers in Seoul build technologies that Americans only tweet about. While the West debates pronouns and politics, the East debates patents and progress. It's not about morality, it's about momentum. And right now, America is losing it. The military mirage. For decades, America's greatest flex was its military. 11 carrier groups, nuclear triads, a defense budget larger than the next 10 countries combined. But power is no longer measured by missiles. It's measured by manufacturing. And without the factories, without the resources, without the logistics, those missiles are just metal. In 2024, U.S. military supply chains faced shortages of basic chips and rare metals. Weapons couldn't be built fast enough. Repairs took months. And in an era of drones, satellites, and cyber warfare, size no longer guarantees victory. A nation that once prided itself on making everything now struggles to make the things it needs most. The myth of endless growth. For decades, American economists preached one gospel: perpetual growth. More spending, more debt, more printing, more expansion. But infinite growth on a finite planet is a mathematical impossibility. And now reality is catching up. Climate disasters cost the U.S. hundreds of billions every year. Healthcare consumes 1/5 of GDP. College debt is suffocating generations. And every time the economy wobbles, the same solution appears: print more money. But money isn't wealth. Wealth is production, innovation, and stability. Three things America is rapidly losing. The empire of illusion. There's a dangerous comfort in believing decline is temporary, that America can simply bounce back like it always has. But history doesn't repeat, it evolves. The British Empire once said the same thing. So did Spain. So did Rome. The American empire is not falling in a blaze of defeat. It's fading in a fog of denial. Movies still glorify heroism. Songs still preach freedom. Politicians still promise greatness. But the reality is different. Homelessness is rising. Cities are crumbling. The rich have never been richer, and the poor have never been more invisible. It's not the American dream anymore. It's the American illusion. The rising East. While the West struggles with division and debt, the East is synchronizing. China, India, Indonesia, all building alliances, infrastructure, and shared markets. In Africa, Chinese firms are laying railways, ports, and digital networks. In Latin America, BRICS investments are rewriting trade routes once dominated by Washington. And in the Middle East, nations once bound to the dollar are diversifying faster than ever. It's not just about economics, it's about trust. The world no longer sees America as a reliable partner. It sees a power that overpromised and underdelivered. The unseen opportunity. But here's the twist. Decline doesn't have to mean defeat. Every empire that fell made way for something new, and every generation that saw darkness also had the power to rebuild light. Because America's greatest export was never technology, money, or weapons. It was hope. Hope that anyone, anywhere could rise, no matter where they started. That spirit still exists, buried beneath the noise, the anger, the division. It exists in young innovators building startups from their bedrooms, in veterans helping their communities, in teachers, artists, and dreamers refusing to give up. The fall of power could be the rise of purpose. The road ahead. If America wants to endure, it must remember what made it powerful in the first place. Not dominance, but belief. Not greed, but gratitude. Not consumption, but creation. The next century won't be decided by bombs or tariffs, but by values, vision, and unity. And those who rebuild them will inherit the world. So if you're still watching this, you are part of that rebuilding, because awareness is the first revolution. Don't just watch history, write it. The choice. The story of America was never meant to end in decline. It was written in resilience. The fall of American power isn't the fall of America itself. It's a test, a storm meant to strip away arrogance and reveal strength. Empires fall, but people rise. And if history has taught us anything, it's this. Those who face the truth rebuild the future. So as the world shifts, as the balance of power changes, ask yourself not what America has lost, but what you can help it regain. Because in the end, power doesn't belong to governments or generals. It belongs to those who dare to believe again.